We're live. Yep.
Well, this is how episode 100 would start off. We have no idea what we're doing. It's almost like 100 episodes ago, starting all over. New platform, new excitement, and a fun little review of the last 100 episodes of Business Growth Time. With me, as always, the incomparable, the one and only Janet E. Johnson, where today the E should stand for something really huge, but I gave it zero thought because I was planning on all these other things. I wanted to go through and do 100 E words, and they're going to keep popping out every second. I can't wait.
You know, I have to give you kudos because you've come up with 100 in the past. I mean, 99, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we've had a few. I think eponymous was like my favorite E word because not only
I didn't know the meaning of it.
It isn't an eclectic word, which is another good E word, but it was the name of an REM album way back in the day. It was their first greatest hits album. So, and I was an REM fan.
That's true.
We're gonna kind of lay this out a little bit different. Like we're gonna talk a little bit about our history, how this show came about, and then we're gonna go through some really specific points, show by show, and kind of highlight some of our favorite episodes. I wish I had a ding for every time there was an E word. 3 dings right there. We need Kennedy.
We need everybody to comment in the feed when they hear an E word with Ernie or what should we? I don't know.
Ernie, right? It's Ernie. That's so. That was a Ralph and Carol thing. They named their audience.
Yes, Carolyn. Yep.
Yeah, and we needed an audience
E word.
And it had to start with an E, right? And
I preferred Bert, but we went with Ernie because it starts with E.
Right.
We're aging ourselves here, actually, because
your name was Janet E. Johnson.Maybe it could have been Bert, but no.
Oh, that's great.
Wait. Time out. You liked Bert better than Ernie?
No, I'm just joking. I don't.
Okay.
I don't even remember which is which. To be honest with you, which is which?
Bert was the tall, skinny, yellow-headed fella. Ernie was the shorter, rounder, orange fella.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I preferred Ernie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, Bert was so uptight.
I don't remember.
So uptight. Bert needed to chill out a little bit. And, like, Bert smoking a joint would be so funny.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you got a dog thing going on, don't you?
My dog, not your dog, our dog, my wife's dog. He's going to be in the show a lot today. He's particularly rambunctious, and that's just the way.
I locked cats upstairs, so cats are out of the picture today.
Johnson, thinking ahead.
Screen, but if you've ever watched this before, you've seen my cat numerous times.
I've seen every part of her cat numerous times. It's like, hey, full display. Check me out.
Exactly. Well, let's start with, first we wanted to talk about just how Terry and I even know each other. I really wanted to pull up the picture of us in high school. But we've been with Be Live for only a day, and the screen share portion of it is not working yet. So for some reason, and I've been messaging them back and forth, so we won't be able to show it, but it will be in the show notes of show 100 once we put it out there so that you guys can be thoroughly entertained. I have to say, well, Terry's is better. His picture is better than mine, but I had dark brown, really long hair that was this big, of course, because we were the 80s. Now, Terry, I think, has a pink bandana over his head.
Let's be honest. It's not just pink, but it was like fluorescent pink, right? It was glowing, and if it got really dark in that room, you'd still be able to see me because all eyes on Terry. That's the way it was back in high school. Eyes.
Those white shorts too that you had on were sweet.
And you know what? That was back. Hi, Dwayne Ahola. That was back when shorts actually were short. Right now we have shorts and they could come down to your knees. Not those bad boys. Suckers were. They were hugging in all the wrong places, kids.
And I believe that the picture that we took, I may be wrong, but I don't know what class it was. I think it was public speaking. So that is kind of funny. I believe it might have been. And then the other thing is we look extremely bored, like we're half asleep. So anyway, so that was the one entertaining picture we have back from the 80s. I don't know if it was 88, 89, don't remember, but it's one of those years.
And randomly, that picture surfaced on Facebook long before we ever had this conversation or were thinking about this. And then when we started doing this, like 3 years ago, whenever it was, we're like, hey, isn't there a picture of us from back in the day? And that's how that worked out. So Janet E. Johnson and I, high school buddies, graduated the class of 1989. For a long time, we had one of the questions we'd ask people on the show was, name your favorite 80s song or your favorite 80s
put it in
band.
the comments. Let's put in the comments. What's your favorite 80s song? We want to see some of those because that's cool.
That was quintessential stuff.
You just brought up one band.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was an 80s band. I always have to bring up Duran Duran. I mean,
didn't you just see them like the other day?
No, it was last summer, but with Lori. Yeah,
the other day, Lori Edwardson, another E word, commonly known as Lori Edwardson Strand. Now,
yep, you got it. You got it. So that's how we knew each other. Now, how did we get started with the show? We actually got started before Terry and I got together.
You were doing it. I was a guest on your old show a couple of times.
You were probably I think you were actually, when I was going through it, you were number 3 guest on our first version of the show. Yeah. And the first version of the show was, something I try to forget about, but it just...
where is she? There. He's got to make a special cameo. Where is Kimmy?
Oh, she is. She's actually right.
I know you're looking at her.
No, she's in a bin out there somewhere. Yeah, she's been that part of my life for a while now.
Kimmy's all binned up. Okay, let's describe Kimmy. Kimmy was...
All right, well, Kimmy, the social media puppet. If you go to Google, I have the feeling you could still find her. And you would find old past videos. Obviously, we don't have screen shares, so we can't do that. But you definitely want to check out Kimmy at some point. It started with Lisa Celine, and I have to give kudos to Lisa. We did a bunch of videos. This actual idea truly came from Ford Motor Companies, though. I don't know if you realize they had the first social media puppet. And being that I'm an elementary education teacher, I just thought, what a creative idea. Let's have a social media puppet. But it was something that Lisa, I was like, somehow talked Lisa into being the puppet. So she was the puppet, and we would talk back and forth. And it was cool on video, but probably not the best concept for a podcast. So
yeah, you know what? Audio on Kimmy, probably a little bit different. That's a good point. And oh boy, are there some great shots of Kimmy, the social media puppet, on Google right now.
I should really have just deleted everything because that's not my brand anymore, but that's okay. So I want to go. We actually had 40 different shows, and we had some amazing guests. And all these poor guests, I just have to give all of you kudos because you guys lived through being interviewed by Kimmy. So, and Terry, you're one of them. I mean, you were one of the first people. So I'm just going to read through the list. We had, am I on the right list? I want to make sure I'm on the right list. No. Here it is. Terry was number 3. Yep. Sebastian Rusk, Mike O'Neill. I see, Mike, you're watching right now. So, Mike, kudos to you for being interviewed by the puppet.
Oh, Mike.
Pamela Muldean, David Foster, Melanie Perkins, the founder of Canva. She doesn't even do interviews anymore. Grandma Mary, a.k.a. Andrea Ball. She was awesome. She came on as Grandma Mary. Nathan Latka, Brian Horn, and Jack Mize. Probably my favorite because they could not believe, they were shocked. They really didn't realize they were going to be interviewed by a puppet. Mike Brooks, Dino Dogan, Ryan Hanley, Gary Kissel, Robbie Shuckle. I hope I'm not ruining names. Jessica Brace, Joshua Parkinson, Gary Loper, Josh Turner, and Carrie Yanig, Rick Cooper, and Ralph and Carolyn Rivera. You guys were my favorite. Ralph had his own puppet of himself, so that was quite entertaining.
So
those were the first 40.
I liked when Ralph was on our show because Ralph came up with the single best name of all time for you. Do you remember what it was?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So can you share that with the audience, Ann? Because I just want you to say it because it's better if you say it than if I say it.
I hope Rolf's not on right now because he'll be in the comments just going erotica or something like that of that terminology. Yes. So that was. We haven't used that much since, but yeah, you were thoroughly entertained by that.
That was another E word. Hey, now, so anytime that we can make you blush, scream, or slightly uncomfortable, really, that's been one of the driving forces over the 100 episodes of this show for me. Yes, I want to share some knowledge and some information that people can use, but making you squirm actually entertains me more than anything else.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Another E word.
You're on an E roll. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to go through the first 40 shows. That was the first 40. Terry reached out to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you about a podcast. I'm just kind of curious. I really think I should do one. I just have some questions for you. And during that time, Lisa had actually been offered with Ann Sieg a tremendous opportunity. So I knew she wasn't going to have time for the show. And I said, well, I'm looking for a new puppet. So there you are.
And as hard as I tried, Kimmy had way better hair and a little more moxie than I did. So we had to scrap the puppet. That's just kind of how it works.
Yeah,
the puppet was in Minnesota. I was here. My arms aren't that long.
True. So that was part of it too. And then we did decide to start over again with show number 1. And then we did another 100 shows. So I'm on my 140th episode, which is kind of crazy.
It was a long time.
A long time. That was back in 2014. Now let's talk about I want to just mention when I went all the way back through the shows yesterday. And I just decided, let's go down memory lane. Well, here's one thing I have to point out that I noticed of a change with you. And I noticed some changes with me too. You have lost weight. So everybody put an E word in or excellent. Put in excellent. That Terry has lost weight. I know you have.
That's true.
So if you go back, you were a little chubbier. Sorry to say.
Also true. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And depending on where we are in the stage, I actually at one point last summer was down probably 8 pounds less than I am right now. So
wow.
I almost would open the door and blow away. It was weird. Yeah.
So no, that was something I noticed. And then you had different glasses, of course. So you've changed your look a little bit, a tad,
Didn't have glasses.
You pretty much had the same amount of hair you had. So in the beginning, that hasn't changed much.
And did you notice the difference between how we're both wearing purple today? I really like that. I don't know if that's a Vikings thing, a royalty thing.
I still live in the States, so I have to still be the purple, It's just something that, yeah.
And then there was a time when you had shirts that actually had shoulders in them. And then now we had an episode the other day where you wore, I was like, oh my God, she's got shirts that are fully covering.
They actually have I had to do the cold shoulder for today for you. Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You're such a trendsetter. I never saw anybody wearing that, and now I don't see people not wearing that. So you were ahead of the time with that.
I was that and the rose gold. Those are my two things that I don't care if other people weren't wearing it. I was, but everybody followed me for some reason.
Fame to fame.
Now I will bring up what I saw change in me. Is I was dang tan sometimes. I've been dang white sometimes. My hair has been blonde. It's been dark brown. It's been short. It's been straight. It's been long. I don't know. But anyway, I had a lot of different hair things happen over the 3 years. And so it's always changing and it still will change. Tomorrow I'll be straight haired and might go back to brunette. No, never. But so anyway, it was kind of entertaining if you go through all the episodes because we do this via video always. So let's talk about how we've transformed with the technology of video.
Oh, gosh. I miss Blab. I really miss Blab. We started out at Google Hangouts.
You guys Blab users that had tried Blab, used Blab, ever put that in the comments because we want to see that too. If you've used Blab, that would be good to know.
cool, man.
We loved Blab probably the most.
Yeah, Blab was fun. It was easy to use. It was simple. You could have people bounce in and out. That little Brady Bunch thing where there'd be 4 folks on the screen, and you could really, and you just met so many cool influencers. It was like Blab was Twitter. Blab in 2015, right, was Twitter in 2008. Same thing. It was like the opportunity to just connect and have conversation and tip in and tip out, and it was neat. We did Google Hangouts before that.
What year was that? Yeah. What year was Blab? Might be. Yeah, 15. Yep. Oh, yeah. Actually, what's interesting is we recorded via Blab and we embedded all those episodes from Blab onto our blog. As I was going through yesterday, guess what I found? A lot of dead links. So our VA is at work right now because I noticed tons of dead links. So we're going to be putting the YouTube video. Hopefully YouTube doesn't go anywhere because I think we're okay with that. But yeah. Yeah. Well, fortunately, we do it on. We do put the audio on too. So the cool thing is, we started with Google Plus. So we did start with Google Plus because we always wanted this to be video based too. This is just something that I talked to Terry. A lot of people do their podcasts without video, and that's totally fine. But I just feel like when we interview people, especially, we can see them, and you feel like you get to know them so much better. It's just one of the things that I've always really. Now, granted, it'd be easier. I wouldn't have to get makeup ready and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a big believer in video, and we've had how many shows on video, so we're just big believers in video, and yeah, pretty much every show we've had. Yeah, exactly. They do. Good point. That's a great point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard it's something like 80% plus watch a Facebook Live after the fact. So you don't get necessarily them on, but yeah. I agree. Yep. 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 It is. Yeah, we did many, just us. I talked about video. We had Vincenzo. We could go on and on about, we're, yep. Yeah. Tom Lawrence was awesome about his video. I mean, there were so many video ones, talking live, not live, different aspects of it. And it's still 2018, video is still hot. And this live is even hotter on Facebook. So this, oh yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. And that's new. Yeah, that's a newer one. Yep. So video was a big thing. And that's part of the reason I told Terry, I said, let's do this live because, we used to until going back to our progression. We went Google Plus, Blab, and then we tried a whole bunch of different ones after Blab. Remember? Like, yeah. And we just gave up and we found Zoom. We went, you know what? This doesn't have a messy platform. They're all trying to work on things. Even Be Live, what we're using now, we did test it. We did. Yep. But it's just something that they needed to work on things, I think, in the beginning. And now I feel like it's maybe panned out. So we want to try it again. And there's some other platforms out there too. But it's something that in 2018, I know for my own business too, and I suggested to everybody, Facebook Live is going to be a needed thing. So Be Live is a great platform for that. Through our group. Yep. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It's everything. Yeah. So if we did this, we chose to do this in a group, but it could be on a page. It doesn't matter. So yeah, we should probably do a whole show about it at some point. Yeah. Exactly. So that's how it went. Now we are still using Zoom, but we'll test out if we want to do some Be Live. We'll probably rotate between the two. Zoom is such a great platform if you're interviewing privately, that kind of thing. It just makes a lot of sense, and I use it a lot with clients too. So it's just a great private platform. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing. We talked about your weight loss. We got there. We did. Yeah. So yeah, you're here. So I want to get into the next shows. So let me list off the people that we had on shows 1 to 100. We actually, Terry and I we decided to change how we did things, where we interviewed a little less. And Terry and I just kind of interviewed each other some of the time. So we did not have as many guests. Before, we had a guest with Lisa. I had a guest on every single show. We didn't even do a show really unless there were one here and there. But now we tended to, Terry's extremely knowledgeable in business networking. And so we wanted to feature him in some of the shows. And then sometimes I was working on different social media things. So we featured my teaching social media on some of the shows. But other than that, here are some of the guests. Mike O'Neill. Once again, Terry and I both knew him, which was interesting. So we asked him to be our first guest on the new version of the show. So thank you, Mike. Yeah. Brand. Yeah. Yeah. He probably would know a lot more. So there's another thought, Mike. There you go. Okay. Why is that? Hold on. I don't know why that is. She said Terry's not showing up on the screen. I got a text. Put in the comments below if you see Terry. But she said no, Terry. Okay. Why is that? Because I went and viewed it on my phone and it looked fine. Terry, it's no. Look at Terry. We can't see that you lost weight. Go. Okay. Time out, you guys. Do hit the show button. Do you see a show button? There's a settings button that. Yep. I'm talking to Terry. I see you too. Oh, he left us. Oh, that's so funny.
I am back. He was there. So Connie says he was there. All right. Well, let's
You sound different too now, which is interesting.
I sound different.
Yeah, you're actually coming through. I noticed that you're coming through your headset now. Okay, so it's a better. Oh, you were there, she said, and now you're gone. Now it looks like just me. So, all right. Oh, you're back. You're back. There you are.
Cool.
Okay.
Now I'm doing my ebony and ivory, which is awesome. Remember Stevie Wonder, Paul?
Oh, sorry, you guys. Okay.
80s.
Okay, I got to keep going on my list.
Okay, yeah, we got stuff to do. Come on.
Kevin Crayson.
Kevin.
Daphne Michelson, right?
Oh, Daphne Michelson. She's my favorite.
Janae.
She's a
Janae.
state.
Isn't her last name Janae?
It's Daphne. It's Daphne Michelson Janae.
I know,
she's a state representative in Colorado now. Like she's big time. She's going to be like a senator or in Congress for the United States government at some point.
That's awesome.
She's big time. She's super, super cool.
2 times we had Ravi Shackle came back on, and then Ralph and Carolyn Rivera, they came back on. Carrie Yane, she came back on too. So these were people I interviewed the first time around too. I asked to come back. Lisa Manini.
Great episode too. Am
I saying that right? Yeah.
Lisa Manini. Oh, that's a fun episode. Learn about how your brain's hardwired, right? So your natural tendencies. Yeah, it's good stuff.
You have better memory than me. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Gary Loper, Steven Sadler. Sorry.
I'm actually working with Sadler. We're doing really cool stuff right now.
Yes, we'll be talking about that too. Show 21 I mentioned was Periscope. So we even remember Periscope. I had to bring that up.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Caggiano. He was on twice.
Stephen. How's he doing these days?
I know. He commented on that, or he had liked the post that we had put out. Bob Berg, Wendy Pett, Bonnie Frank, Scott Monty, Dottie Berry, Frank. Sorry, I said Bonnie Frank, Annie Meehan, Dr. Nick Hole, and Dr. Keith.
Farmers.
Vincenzo Landino, Bill Svoboda. That was great about customer
care.
Service,
Not customer service, but customer care.
Tom Lawrence, Rosh Sillers. Shows, let's see. Oh, we talked about our personal life on show 66. That's an entertaining photo about your bunny rabbit and my cat.
Your cat. Speaking of seeing all too much of your cat, you can read your episode.
That's the good one. Asha Mankowska.
Oh yeah, she's cool. She had one of my favorite lines as I was going through and reviewing all the shows. We'll share that because I've got it highlighted.
Yep. You did more homework than I did. Michael Melfi, Jen Herman about Instagram, Glenn Gaudet, Mario Facchini, Chris Brogan, Paulino Brenner, Josh Heyman, Mike Alton, Troy Onko, Jeff Bajork,
and Christy Walters. Yeah,
you got it.
Matt.
Yep, Matt Pete and Karen Newland. So we had a lot of guests, even though we didn't do every single show with guests. We still have had a lot of guests, and that was in the top 100. So I gave Terry some homework and he did a dang good job of it, and I am pretty proud of him.
The sound of a helicopter? No, that's just Terry patting himself on the back.
He used to be a teacher, so I gave him a little bit of homework. But first, I will mention that if you stay on and put up with listening to us till the end, I am going to give away one of my new community. I'm just going to give it away. It's worth a lot of value because in the end, we're going to be raising the price to $37 a month in 1 week. But right now it's $27 a month, and I'm just going to give lifetime to one person. What I have is a social media community.
Dang it.
Not yet. So they have to put up with listening to us till the end.
Chris, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Chris.
That's Homecoming King, 1988. Chris.
Yeah, we're going back in time here. So the community is a great small community where I give way deep coaching attention and coaching calls. You get access to my social strategies 101 course, and then you're part of the group to be in on some deeper coaching calls. So that's kind of the gist of it, but we will give one of those away. So let's get into what we want to give some tips that we learned over the last 3 years of existence here. And Terry went through and actually put a tip for every single show. I told him to pick 5 shows, but he didn't read my message. So he went above and beyond. And he did every single show, which he even gave me a spreadsheet and everything. I'm just so impressed. I don't even know.
I'm married. My wife tells me to do something. I just over deliver. That's all for the rest of the people, not so much. But the lady says do X. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do X. I'm going to do Y. I'm going to do Z. I'm going to do Q. I got a little B over here. We're good.
That's great. So I did 5, and I chose from the show 1 through 50. We did pick and do a best of show already for the first 50 shows. So I'm just going to quick give my tips, and then I will let Terry take it away. So for the show number 16, Gary Loper, and I tried to pick things that are still in effect today, because some of the social media ones that we talked about aren't in effect today still. But this one is Gary Loper, and this is still completely in effect today. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And that's part of the reason we love video so much, is because people get to know, like, and trust you to a different level, more like you actually know that person. So that's still same today. So that was Gary Loper, show number 16, if you want to go back and listen to the whole thing. Show number 36, we were very excited to have Scott Monty on. Mm-hmm. And he talked about
Ford. He ran all of social media for Ford for a long time. Yes. And then maybe he was the one that originally created the puppet. I don't know.
Yeah, we should check with him on that. I know they retired that puppet too. So social media. He put, in social media, apply your listening skills twice as hard as your talking skills. Great comment.
That's important stuff.
Wendy Pett, 28. We loved Wendy Pett's because she talked about sitting is the new smoking, and just to do small exercises throughout the day, especially a lot of us entrepreneurs, we sit all day long on this computer. So that brought up she had a lot of great pointers. That was show 28. And Karen Newland, she talked about show 41. She is a Facebook ad expert, just as myself, good friends of hers. We actually went and hung out at Social Media Marketing World last year. She talked about how on Facebook you can increase of 10,000 organic growth by following these simple 4 steps. And I'm not going to give them to you. But the question is, that was show number 41. It was a long time ago. So I'd love to ask Karen at some point, is that even valid still? I don't know.
That's a good point, because the landscape changes quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, this was quite a while ago, a couple of years almost. So I don't know. I would be curious if that would still work, that method. But it was kind of a cool little tip that she gave us. So we will have to probably maybe have her back on and go through something like that too. And then the show number 48, we talked about focus. And that was just a Terry and I show. And that one, we were talking about doing one thing at a time. We all, like your dog's going to
You got that? I can't tell. It might have worked.
So focus, one thing at a time. So Terry's trying to do the one thing of staying. He's got a dog. So there's 2. That's great. Awesome. So that's my 5 I picked out. I went through them real fast because those were the first 50. Now, Terry went through the second 50 episodes. And I'm just going to let him take it away.
Went through 50, right? Like, looked at all of them. And because I thought that's what the assignment was, because I didn't read the part where you said, and I picked 5.
How long did it take you? About
I missed that.
Hour, 2 hours?
Yeah, I was like, if we do 30 seconds on each episode, that's going to be a long time. But all right, it's an episode 100. It's a party. Let's go. Whatever. For me, I'm good either way.
Hey, we're still at 35 minutes for our show. That's pretty good for us. We try to keep our podcast to 25 to 35 minutes. We try not to make it too long because we know you guys are all busy.
You know what? The longest one that I remember seeing was Vincenzo's Landino.
And that was a great one.
It was great. And sometimes you get into a flow and you're like, well, there's like always a natural cut time or spot. And we didn't have that at that point with him.
We were testing new software though, and we had issues too.
Yeah, that always helps, especially when you start talking about all the things that are going wrong in the show. All right. So I'm going to go kind of from we'll pick up where you left off. So I'm going to skip show 50, but 51, Dr. Nicole and Keith Farmer had a line about having affirmations and sharing them all over the place, right? This is advice for entrepreneurs. They're like, make sure that you have your affirmations written and posted where you're going to see them. You know, I've got some of my goals up over on a card underneath my garage door opener. Every time I open and close my garage, I see what I'm focused on. And that's the kind of like keeping that in your mind, keeping it top of mind is so important. So I love that advice. I'm gonna quiz you, Janet, because in episode 52, we did the 10 things you need to do at networking events, and I talked about the number one accessory you have to wear at every event. Do you remember what it was? It's absolute necessity to wear at an event.
I remember mentioning the name. Anybody in the comments?
That's a good idea, Denver. I like it. Have a dream board.
Oh, very good. Oh, look at this. Watch this. He brought this up. Isn't that fancy? Nice.
I posted micro goals. I think that's good. That's neat, too, that you can actually have that listed on thing. So the number one event or accessory that you have to wear to every
I feel it's right here, though. I'm okay.
It's actually a little bit lower. It's about 5 inches lower than where your hand was.
Glasses?
No, but lower. Your glasses aren't, or maybe you don't understand the concept of 5 inches. I'm going to leave that one alone. Smile. You have to have a smile. That's the most important thing to wear to your events.
Yep, you're right.
So we talked about Vincenzo Landino a couple of times. He brought up the point that he was at Facebook like 2 weeks before we recorded that episode, and he told us a statistic that I have quoted numerous times about how the Facebook feed was going to change by 2019. He said 90% of all content that you see will be video. 90%. Which is probably the reason that we spend so much dang time talking about video. Because that's where we're going. So get on the video bus, people. So I like that one. We talked a little bit. There's one of the guys that produced TEDx Detroit, and so I've been doing that for 9 years. So we had an episode on how to actually get on stage. I thought there was some really good advice in there. We talked about Bill Svoboda and how it's no longer enough to have customer service, but you have to have care into that service. We talked about Tom Lawrence and his talk on video and creating video. He shared a tool that I really like the idea of called OpenShot, which is a really easy to use video editing software. Because, if you're going to have video, it might as well be better than just crap video. So edit it a little bit. So OpenShot's super easy to use. Rosh Sillers was on talking about on-page SEO. He was talking about just activity, being active, being regularly active, being continuously active, and posting more than normal. Long.
It was like something like 1,500 words or something crazy.
Well, so that was actually two different conversations. That was Mike Alton, and he was talking about the importance of cornerstone content.
Okay.
So it even has a word, right? It has a name. So, the one episode that I thought was particularly good that was just you and I was episode 69, and it was about LinkedIn tips. And the note that I have here is that Google trust LinkedIn. If you do a search for a person, one of their first 3 to 5 results is going to be their LinkedIn profile. So if Google trusts LinkedIn, shouldn't you be using it? And I think that's important. It's growing, and I think a lot of people are with the Facebook changes are starting to go. I think so too. It's going to be big. I told you earlier when you mentioned Asha Mankowska, and this is episode 70 called Ignite Your Brand. Asha said, and I love this line, your niche will make you rich. Even my dog likes that line. Your niche will make you rich, right? So we talk about focus and getting dialed into what you do and who you serve. And I think that's just such a smart thing to talk about. Michael Melfi in episode 71 talked about the identity of an entrepreneur. And I wrote down here, internally motivated and outcome focused, right? If you think about it, no one's going to tell you what to do. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got to have that drive and be dialed into what your outcomes are.
Side note, my VA liked editing that one.
Did she?
Comment about his looks.
Like, ooh, he's a cutie. That's awesome. He's very short. No, no, Michael's cool, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's a good guy. In 75, we talked about the idea of having 3 new habits for 2017. And one of them was about just being mindful, right? Just being fully aware of what needs to be done. And I think that's such an important element that so many of us miss out on. Instagram episode 79 with Jen Herman was talking about how you have to have beautiful photos. And that was such a reminder of why I suck at Instagram. I'm not much of a beautiful photo taker. How often are you Instagramming? Do you still Instagram a lot?
Yeah, every day almost. Yeah, and my new kitten has his own Instagram account.
Your new kitten. Do you still Pinterest? We had
Curious Jasper, by the way. So if anybody wants to follow,
just curious Jasper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I did that just because it's a playground for me.
Okay, just for practice, like testing and market research kind of deal, or what do you mean playground?
Yeah, just because I do Instagram for a lot of clients, so I'm seeing, okay, if I post every single day, how is this gonna? And I started from scratch. I only 1 week ago posted every day and started from scratch and have now 55 followers on my cat account. Yeah,
for a cat account. That's your cat's got more followers than like people.
Some
That's
people know.
Fascinating.
But anyway, it's just kind of like, I think I felt like people got sick of looking at my kitten on Facebook. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just start an account, and whoever really wants to see it, then they can. I won't bug the people that, So anyway,
that's awesome.
Kind of funny.
Awesome.
Hey, by the way, we have a lot of people jumping on and off, so I'm gonna change how I'm giving away this prize real quick.
Really? Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, because I know some people, you don't have time to sit on here, and besides, Connie's so funny. She's texting me during the time.
Maybe we should tell them when we think
we're gonna have a lot of replay viewers. So I want to make sure that anybody that's viewing afterwards or during, anybody that comes in here, we need you to comment though, so that I know. And then I will randomly draw somebody, and I will send you a message on Monday.
Oh, so I like that.
Sure that they're commenting. So kind of late in the game. A lot of people commented already, but just make sure that you're commenting, say something of some sort, and put win or excellent. Put an E-word. There you go.
Yeah, you know what? Your favorite E-word can get you the prize. You know what? I'm gonna sweeten the deal. We'll give a second prize.
I'm
gonna offer a 30-minute consulting session.
Oh,
right?
Awesome.
Just one-on-one, 30 minutes. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about from a business development perspective, whether it's about content, whether it's about community, whether it's about connections, whatever is ailing you in your business growth, we'll talk about it, man. And I probably can help you. I think I'm pretty comfortable in that.
Yes,
so
I agree.
There you go. I can give you a book. What's that? If
we
you want
both coach each other. Yeah. Oh, a book. But yeah.
I have a book. We can do
so put a comment. Yep. Put a comment. And
gotta be an E-word. Dang it.
Could I put something up okay, you keep going. I'm going to figure it out.
So you do that, and I'm going to keep going. So we talked about that. We talked about social selling. So there was a period of time in 2017 I was playing in the VR space, and it was a ton of fun. And just out of dumb luck, Janet's kid had a Sony PlayStation VR. And so Janet did a Facebook Live of playing her son's virtual reality, and that was in episode 82. So I think we still need to see that video, Janet. I don't think you actually tied it to the show notes, but I'm bringing it back up because
did I not tie it to the show notes? Oh, what number was it?
Episode 82.
Okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah. By the way, I was screaming and
oh god, crawling out of the crowd.
Scared. Oh yeah,
yeah. So funny.
Bloody pigs dripping blood on me. I mean, it was crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Episode 83. my buddy Mario Fascini came and joined us for the expert authority effect. And I really liked his line about do what you can do, stay in your strength zone, and let everyone else worry about the rest of the stuff, right? So outsource, get it off of your plate. If it's not something that you're good at, get somebody else to do it. I just thought that was brilliant.
I think so too. I completely agree.
Chris Brogan came on, and Chris has been a longtime hero of mine and really one of the greatest in the social media coaching, consulting, growth space.
And he's not really social media anymore.
No, he's beyond that, right? Mm-hmm. He's beyond that, but he's really about business growth, right? Yeah. And so the topic of his show, and we went back and forth through like 5 different topics, but we concluded on not busy, blessed. And we asked Chris, how do you define success? So Janet, before I read Chris's definition, I think you and I should probably define success. What I'll give it a thought. For me, success is being able to live life on my own terms, doing what I want when I want, without having to worry about whatever people worry about. That's my definition.
But you're married.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I am mostly not successful. Thank you for bringing that up.
I would say the same. I mean, and finances are a part of that. I would say the exact same thing, but you got to be financially free in order to have those pieces in life. I mean, if you worry about finances, it's much tougher.
Well, and to me, you can't live life on your own terms if you're worried about finances, right?
Exactly.
I have a kid that does cheerleading. She was in Atlantic City 2 weeks ago. She'll be in Columbus next month, Columbus, Ohio. She'll be in Orlando in March. She'll be in Orlando in May. And I'm like, my wife's like, hey, no, you don't want to hear this, but we're only about $2,000 short every month for the next 5 months. So if you could fix that, that would be great. Sweet. Awesome. All right. So Chris's definition was being able to say no to the things I don't want to do. And I like that too, right? Because if you have to be able to afford to say no to the things you don't want to do, right? So that's super important.
And it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I was asked to speak for a very small group of real estate professionals recently, and I said yes right away just because that's how I am. But I thought about it more, and I'm like, just doesn't feel like a fit. And I finally said no, and I had a hard time with that. But it's sometimes it's better to say no if you just don't feel in your gut that it's the right thing.
It's better to say no. It's absolutely better to say no. So we did a second episode on VR, and it was just startup life, right? It was really, VR was part of the topic, but it was really about startup. And I'm in startup role yet again. And the 3 words that I tell our team all the time, just don't die, right? That's it, right? If you can keep your startup living and hopefully growing, right? Just don't die. And I just think that's good stuff. And then we got some other things that are kind of cool. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is an episode that you and I did just like 3 episodes ago, episode 97. And I've got here, if you're absolutely certain of where you're going, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, decision-making becomes a snap, and you become really focused on what you're going to do. Right. And I think that's we don't set enough parameters in our personal life or our business life. So we kind of do a little bit of meandering. But when we're crystal clear on the outcome, it allows us to say no. It allows us to say yes to things faster because we know whether or not it's whatever that issue is going to get us to the result we seek. And so that certainty of where you're going, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, super important. You're just gonna nod. She's smiling and nodding. Look, she's got her number one.
Say too much.
She's got her number one accessory for networking. She's ready to go. No, that's it. Right? That's it.
That's it. So that was the last one? No.
No. Well, I mean, it could be. It could be. We talked about Facebook changes was technically the last one, right? That was 99.
Got it. Okay.
So
it didn't take as long. I was waiting for more. I'm like, that didn't take as long as I thought.
I skipped a couple, right?
Very, very organized. That's kind of there's another tip. The organization, being very organized, that makes a difference. So that, I love every guest brought something to the table. I mean, we had just incredible guests, and everybody brought something that I personally even walked away with. You walked away with, and even when we interviewed each other, you'd be learning Facebook tips from me. I'd be learning the networking tips, but not that I remembered because I forgot the smile thing. But the smile's natural for me anyway, so that I don't even have to think about it. But that's funny. So no, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of ease. We appreciate all of you joining us for the 100th show. And we're looking forward to the next 100 and having some more guests. We've actually not had a lot of guests lately because I think Terry and I just kind of get busy in other worlds too. And, in our daily lives. And we just, don't think about the guest side of things as much as we used to. So I know I want to start having guests back on more often.
It's interesting to me because it's true, right? If you look at the things that you and I are both doing in our lives, this I don't think ever comes anywhere. It's probably not in the top 3, right? In terms of priority, it might be in the top 5. Every once in a while, it bounces a little bit higher, but it is to call it anything other than an afterthought is probably not fair. But it's time that. Every time we do it, I enjoy the heck out of it. I like catching up with you and learning from you and spending time with you for whatever that's worth. And I like the idea of hopefully adding value to an audience because ultimately that's what I'm about. And I know you are too. Yeah. I know you are too. And so it's been my pleasure to be a part of this. Thank you, Lisa, for abdicating the throne and allowing me to sit in and to fill those little tiny shoes. They were super small. I don't even know if she had shoes. She's a puppet. Does she have shoes? But
no, it's been a blast. It's been a blast, and we always laugh. We always have a good time. You guys got to watch the last show because what was it? The Facebook changes. For one, there were great tips on there, but also just pretty entertaining. I feel we kind of dished on Zuck a little bit.
Yeah, we dished on everything, right? We talked about maybe changing the whole format and just going straight up view, girl.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we look forward to some of you being guests again, and we appreciate your time. Now, I'm going to end this with: be sure to comment, like it, whatever you need to do. We'll randomly pick on Monday. So Terry is going to give away 30-minute consult with him, just phone call, BS, whatever you need to do to business growth. He will take, I know, because I've had to go to him for coaching a lot of times, just asking him questions. Hey, what should I do with this? What should I title this? How much should I charge for this? So it took it from here to here. And then my social media group is, we've already got tons of training for you available in the back office. And then you will be able to join us live twice a month. I do a live and then I do a Zoom call where we actually get work done with your social media. So it's pretty cool. Would love to have you make a comment and join us for more of our shows. And if you're not in the group watching this, be sure to join our group. It's businessgrowthtime.xyz, or just look up Business Growth Time on Facebook, either way. And then go look at these past episodes, and it's just businessgrowthtime.com/blog is all you need to do. And iTunes, all the places. We are there.
It's a beautiful thing. People, Ernie, it's been our pleasure, and I'm so excited about moving forward.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.